You are now listening to Discovering God with Olivia Adebayo. Welcome back to the Discovering God podcast.
What's up?
I'm your host, Olivia, and today's guest is none other than music superstar producer Jerren.
What's up, good people? What's up? Nice beanie, son. I like the aesthetic. It looks great, man.
Thank
You got the.
you.
I'm gonna shameless plug this book right now. Actually,
Okay.
go cop her book 7, man. She's
Yes.
telling everything about her incredible journey toward your relationship with God, as it says on the cover, right?
Yeah. You were there for a lot of that story.
Yeah, man. I got to see a lot. I got to witness a lot.
Yes, you were there for a lot of that story. And let me clear this up really quickly. I post about you a lot
For real?
on my Instagram. A lot, yeah. And I say you're my brother.
Oh, you do actually. Sometimes I don't get the tag, but you know.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
Be like
fast
that.
with it. But, and I say you're my brother. And then I have a lot of people, a lot of girls ask me about my brother. He's not my actual brother.
We should have talked about what we weren't going to talk about on the podcast first, but let it
I just
go.
want to clear that up because I say you're my brother a lot, and I want to clear that up, that you're not my actual brother, but you are like a brother to me.
Absolutely.
I might talk to you more than I talk to my actual brother.
Sam is fam. Has been for what? We've been friends probably 11 years.
So let's talk about that.
11 years.
When we first met, it was probably like 2011.
2011.
2011. And you were in Brooklyn.
Yep. It was the fall. It's probably like October, something like that.
And I was so nervous.
You were.
Oh.
She was, guys.
I wasn't hiding that. I was nervous because before we got in the studio, they were saying, so I'm a songwriter, to preface it that way. I'm a songwriter, and I was linking up with different people in the industry who were trying to get placements and stuff like that.
Right.
And you were one of the producers, and they said, oh, he did a song with K. Michelle, Katy Perry, and I'm like, this girl from Long Island. I'm like 21 years old. Gosh, I was like 20, 21, 22, something like that.
Yep.
Ain't never got a placement in my life, and then I see that you have all these placements and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, I can't go in here. I cannot
crazy.
suck. I get there, and you were so nice.
Yeah. We had pizza.
We did? Okay, we had pizza.
We ordered some pizza. I was telling her to relax too. I was like, let me just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what I learned how to tell people. Like, I trust you. Like, I would tell musicians all the time, like, even if they were confident, I still go like, hey, look, I trust exactly why you're here. Cause like when I'm a producer, the cool thing is I get to, like, when you leave, I get to do what I want with it anyway. You know what I'm saying? I get to do stuff y'all didn't even know I did. But I told you that. I was like, yo, I trust what you do. You hear the right music. You know what I'm saying? We just gonna do what you always done. And you did it. It sounded amazing. I was really like, yo, she's super gifted. And then we just was stuck like glue after that. Like,
what made it cool is like I felt like, and especially like when you're meeting different people in the studio in New York, in my experience, like you don't want to make it seem like you're too familiar with them.
Right.
You want to give them space. You want to be, but like you were always like, hey, just hit me up if you want to write more. And you started emailing me tracks and stuff like that. So I felt like we became friends.
Right. We did, and took care of each other, man. Like, part of the journey for, I think, musicians is that it's difficult to know what's going to happen next, when your next opportunity will present itself, and it's definitely a faithful walk. So I always tell people too, like, I didn't know I was seeking God through the gift the whole time, you know, and you learn to practically, you know, walk in faith. It's a practical application with being a musician full time. You know what I'm saying? It seems cool, but you don't know what's gonna happen next. You don't know. And you gotta be you have to rely on you have to be resourceful. You have to make sure that the people that you meet, you serve them, and you also are available for the opportunities, because you can try to be perfect, right? You can try to be like, not perfect, but like over prepared for something, right? You can write 100 songs and sometimes it still might not work out that day. But then it's a day where you don't have like 10 songs, and then you're like, I don't feel like I have enough, but then they end up choosing 2 or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this mixed bag of not knowing. So in essence, like, we definitely took care of those parts that were like unsure, and you develop a tribe that way. Everybody, it's like you're all praying and feeding each other. Can I stay over at your spot for a week? Whatever, but it's a beautiful process.
It's rare.
It is rare
in this business, but I feel like you've been here in this moment today at our house for a little while. You've gotten to eat, and we've been talking already that we kind of just dove right in. I just want to pray really quickly. Holy Spirit, thank you so much for this moment, God. Lord, thank you so much for our friendship. Thank you for giving us a story, God. God, thank you for being a God that's worth discovering. God, thank you for being a God that's made himself available to us in all situations, in all areas, and that you've loved us so much and given us the mercy and the grace to even be in this place, God, to share with your people. I pray that you would be glorified in this moment, and glorified in our lives. In Jesus' name, I pray,
amen.
Jerren,
What's good?
you said about being able to do this full time.
Yeah.
When did you realize? Matter of fact, what was the last actual job, like 9 to 5, you had?
Man, I think it was U-Haul.
Really?
Yeah, I was working at U-Haul my senior year of college, and I was probably making $300 a week at the time, which was cool.
You were working like in the store, or like?
Yeah, I was hooking up trailers, so I was getting my hands dirty. I'd come home, my hands would be black, full of like just oil and soot. And I loved that job. One of my frat brothers in college actually gave me the job. He gave a lot of us jobs, but I worked from 15. I think I was 14. My first job, I worked with my uncle. This place called Pie Works. I was a bus boy. And I worked at McDonald's from 15 to 16 years old, at the cash register. That was cool. And then I worked at a group home, which was actually really interesting because, so my best friend's mom, she used to give everybody jobs too. She gave me this job. And that job paid for my first real music equipment, the stuff that I had dreamed of. I saved up all that money and bought my music. So doing it full time, getting to that I was a full time broke person too, sleeping on friends' couches. So I was, that was a process to,
When did you feel confident enough to say, you know what, I'm just gonna pursue music and not do the 9 to 5?
I knew that in high school. I knew it then, y'all. I knew it the whole time. I knew that this was something that if I was going to pursue it though, I needed to really study my craft. And I was probably 14 when it really clicked. And I said, I gotta study everything that I like. I'm going to listen to with a different kind of ear. You know what I'm saying? But I got serious then, and from then it was just this journey of allowing the paths to just, or I would say people's paths to connect in a way that I couldn't even ask for. I just started meeting people that happened to be doing the same thing, eventually. But I made my mind up then. When I graduated college, I kind of took a year to figure it out.
What was your degree?
Mass communications. I majored in that because I wanted to graduate fast. Plus, they turned me down.
Was it your parents who made you go to college, or did you want to go to college?
I wanted to go. I went to play football first off, and then I tried to be a music major, and they turned me down. So I was like, yo, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, well, if I want to get out of here in 4 years, let me just choose this. But that's when I ended up meeting SK and Naja, some of my homeboys who ended up doing great things in music as well. But we ended up meeting in that small HBCU and so like I said, like just taking care of each other until we got where we wanted to go. You know what I mean? Winston-Salem State University, Rams, stand up.
You might hear his accent.
Oh yeah, I'm from North Carolina.
So yeah, tell me about that. Where are you from?
Raleigh, North Carolina, born and raised, 919, Wake County. My family is all still there. They be like, when you moving back? You know what I mean? So I'm like, your family, my family likes to stick to, like, stay close. You know what I mean? But I love that. I visit often. I love Raleigh. I love my hometown. It's like it's a quality of life thing. It's a little slower, but it's not too slow. It ain't like the sticks. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But it's home.
You grew up in the church?
Yeah, I did for sure. Shout out to Ma Dukes. Yeah, we went to church almost every week. I sang in the choir, went to vacation Bible school, and did all the stuff that young kids do when they participate. And so it was cool.
So, to you, growing up as a kid, who was God? Was he just? Yeah. He was always there.
God was like this figure that I knew was bigger than everything somehow, because the way my parents or my grandmothers and grandparents would pray and how they would yield their lives to God definitely, made me insightful about, like, okay, God is something that you ain't supposed to play with, for one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I would ask myself like really deep questions when I was a kid too. I can't remember all of those questions, but I just remember them being kind of like outside of the realm of like what we can see. Mm-hmm. And that always was interesting to me. I held on to those kinds of questions until I actually started really seeking God for myself, and not just attending church. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, so yeah, God was always, like, I believe in my life that I knew God was real somehow, but I didn't have the relationship like I grew to learn. You know what I mean?
What church that you grew up in? What denomination was
Baptist.
that? Baptist.
Oh yeah.
Southern Baptist.
Southern Black Baptist Church.
So what was that like for people who have not experienced?
I loved it. Church? Oh man, you might have people running around one Sunday the whole church. I'm serious. You might have the music is always great. The preachers are always gonna be in a full broke out sweat. And I always was like, man, he got orange juice and water. He don't never drink the juice, and he up there sweating profusely like he ain't thirsty. I'm just kidding. But and so then, like, even going to my grandma's church, growing up too, that's like an old school church, like where they didn't have a minister of music, so they literally stomped their feet and clapped and sang hymns. It just was like, it's powerful without the music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that was amazing. And then everybody in that church was my cousin. Everybody.
Did you play at church?
I tried to, and I failed miserably. I won't say I failed, but I have a musical skill. I just wasn't as gifted on the instrument of the piano. Okay. I could play, but learning the songs and learning the technique of gospel music is, you kind of have to be, it's like a rite of passage. You sit in church and they'll teach you that. You learn as you play. But I didn't play enough to really get it. So I played a little bit.
So your grandparents, your parents planted a lot of seeds of faith in you.
Yeah.
As a kid. But like you said, you didn't really have the relationship yet. Like, you knew God intellectually, maybe?
I would say on what I knew then, yeah. My intellect then. Little boy intellect.
I don't want to move too fast.
It's all good. We got some time.
There are some things I guess I don't know about you.
Sure.
That I want to pull out.
Sure, I love it.
When you went to college, you've been making music. You said since you were
probably like 12.
12. Your parents were supportive?
Yeah. My dad was like, he makes music? Like, it was so fascinating to him because he collect. So his music collection was like immaculate, like CDs, vinyl, cassettes, everything, all kinds of genres. He was like the family, like he was the DJ for like all our family functions, reunions and stuff. And so I would rummage through all of that stuff, and I would just get so inspired by different music. So yeah, when I was started making music, he was surprised that I could put compositions together, pieces of music. I could sample music and put drums behind. I could do different things with music creatively on my own, and he was very supportive. You know, he rode around with my one cassette tape forever. We should have dubbed it because we don't know where it is now. Oh. And mom too. Mom is musical. Like mom can sing. She's crazy. Like her whole side is you know, my grandfather, her dad, plays about 5 instruments. All of his siblings, my great aunts, uncles, they play instruments. My cousins, that's my age, they all play on that side. They're in Norfolk and Chesapeake, Virginia. So, oh man, like that's like when I see them, it's just like we all look at each other through the eyes of music and just can sing and play music together. You know.
So how did you get from your small area in North Carolina into? How did you get to Brooklyn, New York? How did you get into the industry?
That's crazy, man. Cause I'm from like a place where I'm from North Carolina, so we got to see the world through like BET, MTV, Source magazines, and, you know, through media. So it felt far away. It felt like it was over there. That's where it's happening. That we got to leave here to go there. So not having the information on how it goes, I believe a lot of my prayers were like, God, show me a way to like get there, or show me somebody that can let me know that what I'm doing is on the right path. Because where I'm from, everybody just be like, hey, that's good. You know, that sounds good. That's how they say it. just looking at, I don't know, I just always felt like the world was big and I wanted to explore a lot of it, you know. I would literally be in class looking out the window like, people are really out here living their lives. We in here 8 hours a day learning 2 + 2. But so I was ready to like go and seek that whenever I had the opportunity. But I used MySpace. I'm showing my age. I used MySpace, social media, right before like Instagram and stuff started kicking off, to connect with people in music from around the world. That's how I met Young Lord. Shout out to Young Lord. Young Lord is a producer, legendary producer, man, that's helped a lot of people, done a lot of great things. And he actually responded to my message. And man, he gave me a shot. We talked on the phone. He liked my music. As soon as I graduated college, he came and visited me in Raleigh. Pulled up to I was living with my parents at the time. Came by, said, this is what I'm building in Atlanta. And man, I just started feeling like now I'm starting to see the bridge from where I am to where I can go, and it's through this person. You know what I'm saying? But I prepared my gift to get there, and he saw that I was prepared. And so when I came to Atlanta, I was nervous that first day. I was so nervous. Like I literally was on a plane like, I'm leaving. I brought every piece of equipment, 4 bags. I brought everything because I knew this was gonna be my last. Like this is it, you know. But I was like, I'm really leaving everything behind. Everybody. And let me just say this too. It's like the part where you leave everything is like the real, like that's when you get the realization, because you got to feel those emotions now. You got to feel like, wow, I'm like, I just waved bye to everybody. So getting here was fun though, because once I got here, I realized that, wow, there's so many other people that just left where they were from. You see what I'm saying? It became like, this is the meetup place for people who were all leaping.
Yeah.
So just like when we met, I knew you were leaping. You know what I'm saying? I did. I felt like you were nervous because you wanted it, and you had poured so much into it. You wanted to work. You wanted to do a good job. You cared. So that's meaningful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Shout out to Young Lord for being a bridge and like not being a gatekeeper.
Facts.
Because there are a lot of people like that.
Shame
not just
on y'all.
in the industry, but just
Shame
anywhere.
on y'all.
Yeah.
That's real.
And he could have just ignored you. So I'm glad he did not. And for that, I always have respect for him. He's very constant in his
yeah, man.
in himself, and that's
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
A gift.
Yeah. So when I left, I'll just say this too. I'll just say, like, just remembering, like, every step that you're taking, you know what I'm saying, for yourself or for your goals, it's really a bigger picture to that, you know, because I know I'm kind of fast forwarding, but I gotta kind of like insert it just because this is where I am now. But you gotta remember that it's all in service. It's first for God's kingdom, because these are gifts from the kingdom, and then that service is to be applied to God's people, or to all people who God can even make his child, or is already his child, but the world may not see that yet. So you can't just be like have favoritism with your gift either, which is almost like how gatekeepers are, that shun people that have it. They just may not see it, and it just may not be for that blessing, you know.
Right.
But that's what it's really about, and I didn't find that out until like after everything started happening. That's when you start to get the new pieces of wisdom, you know. So
who would you say, in your opinion right now, when would you say was your big break, or do you feel like you've had your biggest break, not your biggest break, but a big break that you were looking for?
I haven't had my biggest, but I did have a break around 2012. The momentum started in 2011 when I met you, because I had just started getting my first placements, or you know, selling my beats to artists. And yeah, the momentum just felt like people are starting to recognize what I'm doing and letting me into their space. And so like that gift making room for you is a real thing, because now you start to become you start to come in the presence of people that can actually give you opportunities that they're holding. They're looking for what you have, you know. And so 2012, the next year, all the seeds that I had planted 2010 for those 2 years, harvested. And I was like working with a bunch of people. So stuff I did with like Trey Songz and K Michelle and all those people, like that's when I was able to start making some money. And I was able to like get off my own boy's couch and get a car and take care of myself, you know, financially. And but then the biggest break from that was my relationship with God. I keep going back to that because that was the realization of that. I was leaving an old grind, an old way of thinking. You're not sleeping on the couch and living out your suitcase anymore.
But let me ask you this real quick. Looking at the industry, can you see yourself, looking back, do you feel like you see yourself having like an internal like consecration for yourself, where there's certain areas in the industry you just couldn't go?
Yeah, I would say yes to the first part, because you go through seasons of having to consecrate in a way. You're gonna accumulate things. You know, it's like a sponge that's meant for cleaning. It's meant for good, but the more you clean with it, the dirtier it gets. You have to wring that sponge out, and it's kind of like you got to do that with yourself. Sometimes you got to wring out the accumulation of things, because good growth and weeds grow together. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you have to know that once you wring it out, I think it's like you're making space again for God to do some things. And we don't know everything. We didn't know nothing when we were born. So it's like, now, how am I going to get to the next level? Well, go through a cleanse, consecrate, yield. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I went through that. I went through that whole thing of
Sage.
Man, just seeking stuff that didn't matter. You know, trivial stuff.
Did anything change in that? I know you found God, but like,
yeah,
it was all like powerless.
Was the word, knowing how alive the word is.
Okay.
Because the word is what God used to create everything. That we came first. You know what I'm saying? And so the word is alive. It's going to be around after everything is perished. So it's like the word changed my life. I could see my life changing by reading the word and it being applicable. You know what I mean? So that was one thing. Learning how to, they helped me how to like pray, like intentionally. You know, it helped me to man, just that was the relationship with God. It started there. Say it again.
Looking at your life now and looking back, are there areas in your life where you see, oh, God was there in that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the grace I'm talking about too. That was that protection, that hedging, not letting me go too far. I kind of look at it like, before we're on a straight and narrow one lane, we might have multiple lanes. That's like the grace. And then the super grace, right? The mercy is like the guardrails. Mm-hmm. So when you hit that guardrail, God's like, dang, that wasn't meant for you to go that far. You know, I'm protecting you because I know you already. Mm-hmm. You out here experiencing and doing what you do for a little while. But there's going to be a time when I need you to come back because I have assignments, you know, and purpose. So I hit those guardrails, basically. I was swerving lanes a little bit, thinking I wasn't going to get caught. And then boom, boom. And then, you know, but, you know, that's why I'm really happy for people that, I'll keep it real with you. A person that may not know Christ yet and is on their journey of seeking, I'm actually happy for them. Because that's a real opportunity to plant something into them. And it doesn't mean open the Bible and put your hand on the head and pray for them right on the spot. It just means you have to walk with them. You have to also give grace to people, you know what I mean, and leave that room. Because I was that person at one point.
Yeah, you weren't far off, but what would you call that? Being in between?
Being double-minded, lukewarm, claiming God and doing other things that God don't approve of. That's exactly what it is.
But now you're on fire.
I was like this, y'all.
Yeah, so he got baptized, rededicated your life on September 25th.
Yes.
2022.
Yes, I did.
And I'd show the clip probably if I could.
Road clip.
But nah, it was a real moment for me because a lot of times, like, I'm working out. Though I've known Christ kind of the same way, like my parents brought me into it. But if I could be honest, I feel like I haven't been walking with Christ the whole time. I feel like the last maybe 4 or 5 years, I've actually feel like I'm walking with him.
That's great, man.
And so a lot of times, if I have friends who I assume that's where because they know who Jesus is, so I assume that that's where their heart is, that's where they're going. A lot of times it's I don't want to say scary, but it's like you don't want to like push what you believe, what you're doing on other people, because you don't want to scare them off. You don't want them to think you're crazy. You don't want them to think you're too churchy. Right. And so that was a lot of times like with you. I feel like Jerren knows God. Jerren knows the Lord isn't. But there were conversations where like you would say stuff about God, and I know that you meant it in like a general sense, not Jesus.
Right.
But
keeping it real.
Yeah.
Yeah. It ain't no. It's. There's no in between. You're either in the spirit of the world. That's it.
But I'm trying to gather, like, how did it just pull you over? Like, Jesus pull you over to where, there's no other God. Yeah. And, like, you know that it's not in other things, that it is Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, strong convictions tell you. I mean, the same way that I got intentional about wanting to do my music and poured everything into it, there's some kind of seed God puts in us to arrive at a place like that. So it's no different, I think, when it comes to our faith and for our salvation, through Christ. I think it's the same thing. I think there's a seed in us that God will activate its growth when it's time. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And
so it's always there. At that moment.
Because even at 27, when I felt I knew Jesus Christ, it was like I was still doing worldly stuff half and half. I still was. You know what I mean? It wasn't that I was believing in other things, but at this point, but it was just you're not living holy. You're not living pure. Wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And so this time around, with being intentional about everything that I desire for myself, which is not just my career and stuff like that, but also having a family in the future and being a father and a husband and having a household. There's intentional principles that I want to have in my heart and in my spirit to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? And do it in a way that protects it and that honors it, you know, through covenant. Like those levels, like just all in. You know what I'm saying? So you live a lot. You live life enough to start seeing what's taking account for like what the value is or something. So all the worldly, and when you was out here doing whatever you was doing, how much does it really worth? How much is it really worth? How much did it cost you? Time, energy, and then maybe some fun, but then some depression, some what's the word I'm looking for? Some toxicity with people. You know what I'm saying? It's just a thing where the cost outweighs the value, and it's not really real like that. It's fleeting. It's fleeting, y'all. Don't do it.
Yeah. So, what would you say to the person who's like in between right now? What would you say to that person?
I was playing. My thing is, I've been there before, so I understand. You know, most of us do. We all understand, like, you know. But I'm not here to be. I'm here to listen to those people. So I would tell them, like, you know, don't be afraid to tell the real story about yourself, or to tell even and to tell yourself that story first. You know, at some point things get better. At some point things become more clear. But we have a motivation or a motive for everything, a reason why we choose and decide to do everything. And so that for that person, I would just tell them, you know, when you have the times where you're confused or you don't understand something, don't be hard on yourself. The answers or the way is there. I would say the way is there. You may not get all the answers you want, but the way is there. And if you just stay close to knowing that the truth exists, God will show you the way to the truth, even if it's through some stuff that you didn't know was wrong. And that's a reality. Some people are in prison for doing heinous stuff, and then they found the truth. I'm not gonna go through that to find the truth personally. And I pray for those people that, you know, and I say the truth being Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins for our eternal salvation. That's what I'm talking about. That truth. But it takes time for people. So I understand. But I do know that there's a time to be direct as well with people and to not, you know, soften it. Because sometimes we soften it wanting to be graceful with people, and because the word tells us to be kind and to be gentle when we disciple. I'll tell you one thing about that too, is like discipling was hard for me, because just because you know him, telling somebody else about Jesus, about your faith, that's a skill too. You know what I'm saying? So I was horrible at it at one point, where I was just like, nah, I need to like really understand scripture, you know, and walk it so I can actually see its revelation, you know, and then I'm able to unpack that, but teach what you know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I definitely feel like a lot of like my fear of like sharing my faith with other people would be because I don't feel like I'm a theologian. I don't know all the scriptures memorized, but a lot of that's not important. If people want to see Jesus demonstrated in your life,
right,
more than they want to hear you saying anything.
Yo, I got a question for you. Okay. What would you say is the most effective way that you show people your walk with Christ?
I guess the way that I treat them, the way that they see me treating myself,
right.
Maybe looking at the fruit of my life, relationships that I'm able to, I guess, sustain, and how transparent I can be with someone.
Right.
I think how transparent I can be, and how much grace I can extend to other people too. I think that's the gospel I can see.
Yeah.
Played out in my life. There's people who, it's not that everything is great all the time, but if I have conflict, I could address the conflict and extend grace in that, and forgive and move on and grow. I don't throw people away.
Right.
I think that's a good part where people are able to see God through, because it's not something I can do on my own. And that's like the power of the Holy Spirit in me. I think that's a good display of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are all great things. I mean, and things that can continually be developed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like levels to all of this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like if I do know a lot of people who know a lot of Bible, but like they don't have any relationship, they don't have any community, and that's not no slight to them. It's just I sometimes find myself envying the fact that they know so much, and then realize that I want to know too. Obviously, I want to know the word and memorize it, but I want to experience and be a part of the experience of love, the love of God to other people too.
Right.
So it's a dance.
That's interesting. The envy part. You want to know more.
I do, and I try, and I feel like the Lord. That's how the Lord keeps me in the Bible, in the presence, in different environments where like our sermons playing, listening to different godly podcasts. Is because I'm always seeking to know more, and I want to remember it all. And like, I feel like God is just like keeping that hunger in me, so that it's continuous, it's perpetual. Because there are people I know who know scriptures, but they won't open the Bible anymore because it's memorized.
Right.
It's not alive. It's more. It's like a script. So as long as I keep opening it up and reading it, and I might not remember it, but then I'll remember it when I read it again. I've read this before, but it means something else.
Yeah. Because like sometimes we can only comprehend what it's saying related to what we're going through. And then you graduate from that, and then you realize, oh, that also relates to this too.
Yeah.
This new thing. Yeah. And it's like, that's what I'm saying, how alive it is. What does it say? It's like it can pierce our soul like 2 knives.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's like I gotta get better. But
that's the thing. Now you want to go back and you read it again.
Right.
But there's people who know the scriptures
yeah.
in and out.
And that's my work though. My work is a lot of my work has been not rushing through the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But let it really fall fresh on me. Like let it really work on me. You know, even if it's just one part that I'm like, man, I'm not understanding it, but it's speaking to me somehow. It's making me pay attention again. You know, and you know, a lot of the beginning stages of reading the Bible for me was the pride was in the way. So a lot of it couldn't get through. And pride is, I think when you start to realize where your pride is and you're able to let it go, man, so many things speak to you. You know, and when I say so many things, yes, the word, but also in your life, you start to handle situations in a way that's almost naturally wise, because the pride's not there. It's pure. So that purity helps you to kind of just be, you know, whether you would learn the word or not, that purity is pure. And it's definitely like, I love it though. I think that's, like I said, that's the majority of my work right now. It's like,
yeah, what is next for you now that you're rededicated your life to Christ?
Yeah.
You're still gifted and anointed to do what you do. What is next for you? Oh, you're welcome.
Helping as many people as I can.
But you've always been helping.
I want to help as many people as I can.
All right.
And that's through my gift or through the things I know how to do well. And I'm gonna let that open the next door. That's if I'm telling y'all my business. But that's been the main thing I've been hearing from the Holy Spirit is get back to helping. How many people can you serve though? It's like that. Like how many more can you serve? Like that's what I feel, and it energizes me.
I think the gift that you have is that you're able to. I'm able to put you into a room, right, and you're able to relate to people on a ground level. I could say a ground level. A ground level.
Yeah.
It's leveled out. Yeah. It doesn't matter if they're a celebrity. Doesn't matter if they're not. It doesn't matter if they're homeless. Like you're caring and you're compassionate to that person, regardless of their circumstances. And I think that's a gift that the Lord is going to use, and that He can put you in any situation. And He can trust that you're going to be Jerren in this room.
I receive that. I do. That's the mission right now, is taking what I know how to do. I think a lot of times we don't know that we have everything we need already, because I don't know, like it's just you look to the left and the right so much that Instagram and social media and TikTok will pull your eyes and ears in so many directions that it wasn't even meant to go. Even though it entertains you, it begins to become like this is something I need to do, and that ain't the truth all the time. The truth can be way more simpler than that. Like you have this, and this, and this person and that person to get this done, this assignment done. And assignments take focus. It takes quietness a lot of times. Your assignment didn't come to you with a lot of noise. It often came to you very clear or with a high inclination about something. And so my high inclination it isn't like you're going to do this to help people, this to help people. That's on me, because God made us to be creative. We're not the creator, but we're in His image to create. So as a vessel for God, I need to download these inclinations. You know what I'm saying? I need to get familiar with that, because that's the communication I have for my assignments. You know what I mean? For my particular assignments. And I think if we all stay in tune with that, we start to do kingdom work. And to do kingdom work, you can't be around a lot of noise, to be honest. You gotta really lock in. That's just my opinion. I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm not going to the hookah bars. I'm not stepping out a lot. I really enjoy focusing on the assignments. It's just something I love to do. Whether I knew it was God or not in the beginning, I've always enjoyed it. And now that I'm realizing more about God's nature in my life, I can be able to help people with that knowledge applied. You feel me?
I think my last question.
I'm ready.
Might be.
I ran out of water, so.
What is your favorite, now knowing the Lord and having a relationship with Him, what is the attribute of God that you love the most?
Oh, man. You gonna throw that one at me? Oh, man, the most. God's redeeming quality. The redemption of Saul/Paul. The redemption of so many stories we read about. The redemption of people we know in our lives. Even the redeeming of like the way we used to think about something. You talk about your book. The times you were ready to just not believe anymore. Like God restored that somehow. It's restored. It happened. You made it happen. Now you walking in the fruit of it. You raising the fruits.
Raising fruits. Gotta pick up the fruits.
The little fruits. And so I wish I could name more, but I'll say that one because, man, who knew God could love us that much to redeem us from something that God detests to something that God has actually transformed. He forgives on that level. You see what I'm saying?
That's true, and no one else can do it but Him.
Nobody. You can't convict a human being. You can't judge a human being. That's God's job. But He can redeem you, and He can use you to redeem that person. So whoever needs some help, holla at me.
Yes.
I got you.
I am. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know what God's doing. with you and with music, but I know that also that you're bigger than music.
Thank you.
I think that anybody who meets you knows that you're a light in the room.
I'm light skinned.
He's light skinned. He's very light skinned. But yeah, I'm honored to be a friend. I'm honored that you're my daughter's godfather.
Yeah.
You're my husband's friend.
For sure.
They're going to a basketball game.
Ooh, gonna see them Hawks. Yeah.
Hawks.
Yo, son, stop, B. Got chill, B.
Tell the people where they can find you.
Man, thank you, Sam, again for being.
You Sam.
Oh yeah, well, Olivia. What y'all call her, Olivia?
Olivia.
Sam B is what I call her.
That's my old
Sam Beasy.
writer name.
Thank you again for having me on your podcast. This was fun. This is a new thing you doing that I'm excited about.
Yeah, I
so
don't know what's happening with this, but thank you for believing it and driving all the way from, downtown.
Woo, yeah.
To the farm out here in
About an hour.
Walton County.
Yeah, man. But thank you again, man. I know this is gonna bless a lot of people, and to all the future guests, man. Have 2 cups of water next time, cause you're gonna be.
Yeah.
Nah, man, yeah, y'all can follow me on Instagram at j.kits.music. Just follow me there. I don't need to drop all them other ones. Appreciate you guys' time. Thank you, Sam.
You have a YouTube too?
Oh yeah, my YouTube. Well, just started my YouTube channel. It's based around music production for people that are aspiring to learn more about the craft. So follow me on YouTube. It's J Kits Music, or actually it's J Kits, no music. J-Kits YouTube. Follow me there.
Thank y'all for listening, and stay tuned for what God's doing in this young man's life. It's about to be crazy. It is crazy.
Let's get it.